Eden,
Brock.
since we're talking about the final four today, I need you to give me 4 things you have on you at all times.
Okay. I'm going to show you instead.
Oh, a visual.
So here's my fanny pack.
Uh-huh.
I'm just going to grab the things that are always on me. Always. It's going to be more than 4. I'm going to pick the 4 that I can't live without.
Okay.
We've got hand sanitizer.
Okay.
A tape measure.
Why?
Because you just never know, Brock.
Okay. There is a tape measure on your phone. Go ahead.
What? What are you talking about?
You don't know the measuring app on your cellular device?
I don't trust it. I want an analog.
Okay.
I want a real one.
Okay. It's come in clutch when I've been at Home Goods. Okay, item number 3.
Sunscreen.
Okay, of course.
And
What SPF? Read me the SPF. What is it?
it's just 30. It's just a replacement. I use Korean sunscreen, SPF 50. I use that. But this is like, if it's on my body. It's also for my kids.
Got it. Sure. Mm-hmm.
There's always a sunscreen on me though. And of course, because I'm the mom. I am a MOM mom. A bar. Some kind of bar.
Is that a blueberry? Is that what I'm seeing? A blueberry situation?
It's a fig bar mini. It's Nature's Bakery. And because my mom always instilled in me, I always have cash on me.
Oh, my mom just yelled at me today, or not today, when I was home a week ago, about not having cash in my wallet. She was like, "You need cash."
That's exactly. It's a generational thing, but I can't. It's in my brain. It's great if I don't have like a 20 on me. I'm like, what if I die though? So that was 5. But what about you? What are your 4 things?
Mine are simple and basic because I don't have a fanny pack. I use my pockets. I call it the boy purse, right?
Sure. The burst.
Yeah, the purse. Phone, wallet, keys. So the trifecta, and then of course. Chapstick brand, no flavor, the one that comes with the blue packaging.
That has the most visceral scent to me. Like I would be brought back to elementary school.
Did you have Accutane? I can't remember. Did you ever do Accutane?
No, I didn't. I was gonna, and then I didn't. I never did Accutane.
Okay, that's the reason my literal body is literally addicted to chapstick, because what Accutane does is it changes your DNA quite literally from the inside out, and your lips go through this process and they become addicted to it. So I'm going through a tube way faster than the normal average American human.
You can wean yourself off of it, but that's fine.
I'm not interested in that. Okay, so this is all to say, and we're in the time machine a little bit. We've already done the actual recap interview with our guest today, Alex, Reid, and Eden. Whoa, it was fantastic. So we're recapping episode 119, the final 4, with the director from this episode, who's also a writer on the series for the first 2 seasons, Alex, Reid.
Ugh, all that and so much more. So Brock, let's get to middling. Welcome to Middling with Eden and Brock, where we, Eden and Brock, break down an episode of the middle each and every week. So we have got a little bit of housekeeping before we jump into the episode. We have a couple of very important announcements, Brock, don't we?
We sure do. First and foremost, last week we had our interview with Neil Flynn. You know him as Mike Heck. And it was so incredible. There was so much we had to cut out of it for if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever. And as always, we have that feature where if you're like, baby, I love you guys, but I'm not doing a subscription, which I get, honey, I get that. But if you want extra content, you're like, but I do want to see that Neil stuff, you can pay for one-off episodes, whether that's the audio or the video. You can pay $3 for just that one-off, not commit to a subscription. So if you do see an episode every once in a blue moon, you're like, I do want the extended of that, and maybe Neil's the one, you can always go to Patreon and do that.
Also, for our Ehlert subscribers on Patreon, there will be no live watch this month, but don't worry, we got you. We're going to have a bonus episode for you that will be released just for you. So if you do want to be an Ehlert subscriber, you will get an extra episode this month. It will be released on Sunday, the 29th. And that's it. It's going to be great. We want to make sure you're getting your money's worth. So we got you covered.
We got you covered. And then, because my sweet little gorgeous baby Eden, I'm going to be the first. You're not going to brag about yourself, but I am. So Eden's last job that she worked on, Night Court, she was asked. And then they're like, please do our show. And then as we were recording with my mother a couple weeks ago, she gets an email. She goes, oh my God, I just got an offer for another project. And so Eden's gallivanting off to Europe, trying to like make money for her family and provide and get health care for her kids. But you know what that
health
means?
insurance,
Health
baby.
insurance, honey. But you know what that means? She's gonna be busy doing other things.
Yeah.
So it's so fun. I officially got a text saying, "Sounds awesome. How about we record this date at this time?" I feel like, you know, when Kelly Ripa and whether it's like Regis Philbin or Michael Strahan or Ryan Seacrest and now it's Mark Consuelos, whenever one of them has to be gone and they have a special co-host. Am I the Kelly Ripa or the Regis Philbin? I think I'm the Kelly Ripa.
Oh, you're the Kelly Ripa. Are you kidding?
I'm Kelly Ripa, and I have a special co-host who's going to be doing the episode with us, and it's our first repeat customer, Eden, Bo Wyrick. So we're going to be doing episode 120. It's an episode that he's in where he creates, I forget what it's called, TV or Not TV, where he creates the band with Axel, with Charlie. So very excited for that. Bo is going to be Regis Philbin, apparently, and I'm Kelly Ripa.
And yes, I will have big FOMO. I will have FOMO in Bulgaria. That is where I will be. If I were anywhere else, I would be like, I can make this work, but I think it's going to be a little tough.
Yeah.
Little tough. I'm flying tomorrow, so
Yes, right.
I think I can talk about it. Jonathan Bennett called me personally.
No, he didn't.
He is the best.
Oh,
He
my
is
God.
So, Brock, I'm telling you, he called me. So he DM'd me on Instagram, and then he was like, if you have any questions, I just finished 68 days in Bulgaria with this crew. I'm like, I know them so well. Please, no stupid questions. In fact, I have to text him a question after this. I need to know if there will be laundry facilities there.
Oh, in like the place that they're putting you up in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he goes, just like rapid fire texting, DMing over Instagram, and then he gives me his number, and he goes, call me. And I was like, you know what? Fine, great. I call him, it clicks on, and he just goes, I mean, no hello.
Oh my God.
It was so great. And I have to just, within this housekeeping, I have to put it out there. I'm going to promote it every single episode until this Kickstarter ends. If you don't know, I have a Kickstarter trying to fund, I'm trying to film a special for my comedy show. I was on a sitcom, and it costs a lot of money, and so I have a Kickstarter to raise funds to see it, and to film it. And if you'd like to see the show, consider donating. There are a lot of fun rewards. Just go to any one of my socials. It's the link in my bio. Go to EdenShareLive.com. You can just Google Kickstarter Eden Share. It'll surely come up. But I would appreciate it. I would appreciate it, and you would appreciate it because you're going to see the show.
The base level, the base level just to get in on it is $15, and they get the special for free once it's done, right?
They're going to get it immediately.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Get a link in your inbox.
Yeah, I love that. And of course, there's more perks and things as like the more you donate and all that kind of stuff. But if you're like, I would like to see the special, $15, boom, you're done. Okay, so Eden, speaking of that tall drink of water, Neil Flynn, we posted a TikTok on Instagram, a reel of us doing kind of what we did, that rapid fire first reaction pop culture happenings with him. And we've got some comments to read out because the comments from those were incredible.
Fantastic.
And the thing is, we told him we don't need a history. We just need an answer because he doesn't ever give a history. He's a man of very few words, but very funny few words.
In fact, we could have taken a history a little bit on some of them. Okay, but we have some great comments we're going to go through. Hannah Wiedmeyer, hope I'm saying that right, on Instagram. Eden, I know you're a fan. What's your favorite Taylor Swift era? Because we asked Neil what his favorite Taylor Swift era, and he said the Great Depression.
If you haven't seen it, you have to go to either our TikTok or Instagram. It is so funny.
So I'm a red girl. It's like, you know, you have your whatever you came of age with, I think. Whatever you like, I'm a fan, but it's red through and through. That's like,
now,
if I listen.
Don't hate me. What songs were on Red? Because I know her main hits. What was Red?
Honestly, it's the album that sort of made her like a mainstream, real pop, just pop, not country. Like, I mean, for me, All Too Well is the one that sticks out.
Oh, sure, of course.
That's the one that makes me cry. But also, Trouble. I knew you were trouble when you walked in.
Oh, that was a seismic shift in pop culture when that came out.
It really was. I'm pretty sure is Shake It Off? Why can't I remember if Shake It Off was on Red?
Is that 1989 or is that?
Oh, maybe that was 89. Yeah, that was 1989. God, I honestly used to have the whole thing memorized like in order. I don't know why I can't. Oh, A Blank Slate. Like,
sure.
It was this. It's the really, really put her. She was already on the map, but this, I feel like, boom, solidified. She is a international mainstream. Here she is, Taylor Swift. I feel like that's the era where Swiftie really became a thing.
And she's done with her tour now. Do you think she'll come on the podcast? Now that
Well,
she's
I
done
did
making
meet her.
over, you sure did. Maybe that she's done making billions and billions of dollars. Maybe she'll come on middling with the
Yeah, a podcast she's never heard of. On a show for a show she's never heard of.
Oh, okay. So we have Lyd. I hope I'm saying that right. LYD on TikTok. Reverencing Neil. He's hearing these words for the first time. His reaction when we said, "Is Chaperone a person, place, or thing?" He said, "Oh, who?" Incredible.
The Chaperone and also the espresso. If I'm espresso, you could see in his brain being like, "Is this an English sentence? Is this what words is he saying? What's happening?" Also, Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, Josie on TikTok. Correct, Josie. This is so Sue, Brad, and Mike. Mm-hmm. Damn straight it is.
Yes, it is.
It was the most Sue, Brad, and Mike thing. I could see Sue and Brad cornering Mike and saying, and just doing this, being like, Dad, we have a couple things. We just want to know an old person. We want to know some pop culture stuff. Brad, Brad created all this. I'm sure you're going to love these questions.
Lisa on Instagram said, "Oh, still my crush. There's something about that dry humor." Oh, Lisa. Do you want his number?
Yeah. Yeah, he loves strangers texting him. I literally texted him. I said when he agreed to be on the podcast, I was almost going to post a screenshot. I should just post a screenshot of this message correspondence. I was like, because Brock always emails with the details, but I know Neil so well that I said, "Wait, Neil, would you like me to give Brock your number so he can text you so that you don't have to check your email?" And he said, "Yes, period." He does not like communicating with people.
No. And guess what? I guess I did. I never knew I had I had everyone else's number. He's the one I didn't have. So now I have everyone's number from ABC's The Middle.
And that was by design. And so now that you have it, that's a huge. He doesn't give out his number willingly. Tell you that much. Okay, Bella on TikTok says, "So they were literally just acting like themselves on The Middle." Got it. Yep. That's
Chris,
it. That's all I got to say about that.
Chris on TikTok, Neil Flynn, our perpetual salt and pepper king. I know that's right.
He loves to hear it.
All right, Eden, let's do some middle minutes. Okay, so we have episode 119, The Final Four. Mike gets tickets to the Final Four, but the death of Frankie's Uncle Mac may change his plans. Meanwhile, Sue tries to help Brick by getting out of going to a birthday party by impersonating Frankie over the phone, but panics when she realizes that Frankie is going to make the call for real in order to get him out because of the funeral. See how that all works? For a very B storyline, that was a lot of words.
Yeah, that was, you know what, honestly, it's not about the words. It's it makes complete sense and it's straightforward when you watch it, but it's a convoluted concept.
It's twists and turns, and you got to explain it at every kind of angle because you do it and then you got to reverse yourself and then you got to reverse yourself again. My God.
Yeah, you did it though. I'm so proud of you, Brock.
Thanks.
Nice reading.
Thanks.
This episode was written by Rob Yulin and directed by the fantastic, who we're going to talk to later, Alex Reid.
And we've already talked to him. He talks, baby. He talks.
Oh, he can talk. We love an Alex story.
Yes. Guest cast for this episode, Brian Doyle Murray as Mr. Ehlert, Jeanette Miller as Aunt Edie, Frances Bay as Aunt Ginny, Dirk Torsick as Reverend Haver, back again, of course, Dirk Torsick, Philip Wilburn as the paramedic, Margarita Franco as the anesthesiologist, and Adam Pilver as the surgeon.
Yep. Who play great, who have a great little bit at the end. All three of them. My favorite bit of the episode.
Yes.
You'll hear me talk about it. I yelled for my husband. Okay, this episode aired on Wednesday, March 31st, 2010 at 8:30, 7:30 Central. March 31st, that's when the Final Four really was happening, right?
I mean, I'm
Had
sure.
it already happened?
I'm going to be really dumb. It's the end of March Madness, right?
Yes, I knew that. I didn't know that. I asked Cronny. I was like, Cronny, what is the Final Four though? and
is
he was
it
like,
is it college or is it professional?
It is college.
Yeah,
it is
college.
college. Well, because I figured it out, honestly. I figured it out. I knew that because I know what I almost said real basketball. College basketball fans are going to be like, what is wrong with you? College basketball is real basketball, which it totally is. But I know what is it called? Major leagues? No, that's baseball. What is it called when it's like the big time? Like Lakers. What are the
NBA.
Lakers? Oh,
Whoa. We've truly hit a multiverse where I'm the one telling you that.
wait, I couldn't think of NBA, Brock. Okay.
NBA.
But I knew that the NBA finals or something different. So I was like, oh, this must be college basketball. Yes. And my husband, again, brushing his teeth, like, you got it. Okay, so we had it March 31st after the real Final Four. And it premiered to 6.23 million viewers.
Top movie of the week, which... Okay, they're making a live action. I saw the trailer during Wicked.
I was just about to say, you saw it during Wicked too, right?
How to Train Your Dragon. Incredible.
Yeah, I'm honestly excited for it.
I've never even seen it. I've never seen the first one or the animated one.
Oh, I saw like part of it. I don't care. I just like a human animal like love story, you know?
Oh, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah. And top song of the week, She's Still Here, Rude Boy by Rihanna.
And she was here to stay. All right, when we come back, Alex Reid is going to help us brilliantly break down this episode. Today, we have a very, very special guest. He is truly a bright patch in the quilt that is the middle. And I get that now because the quilt's the middle quilt. Yeah, you know? He's the bright patch.
Well done.
Thank you. I didn't write it, Brock did. He is also a personal friend of mine. We've kept in touch we've known each other. It's crazy to think almost half my life now. He is such a talent, and it was fabulous on the middle. Please welcome to the show, Alex Reid.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Oh, I forgot to give your other credits.
Do we have time, Eden, really, for all of my credits?
We don't, but I'm going to name a few just because you really have worked on every single thing. I think of you as just like, the middle was your one thing, but you were so successful even before that, and then you've moved on to do things after that. Alex, you worked on the middle, and then you also worked on the show that everyone thinks that I worked on, which is Malcolm in the Middle.
Yes.
And one of Brock's personal favorite shows, and I loved it also, Samantha Who.
Love that show.
Yeah, that show got a raw deal because of the writer's strike. It really screwed it up.
Really?
I own all
Is that
two
what
seasons
happened?
on DVD.
Yeah, it was a long. I don't know why the network, even though it was their first breakout comedy they'd had in a long time, they were more invested in shows like Carpoolers and Cavemen. And I think they were trying to broaden it. At that point, things that were At that point, the things that worked on ABC were shows that mainly appealed to women. And but they were trying to broaden their appeal to men, so they were really focused on those two shows. And then after the strike, they kept pulling the show off the air for like a month, and then they'd put it on a new night and not promote it. And then they would kind of use that as evidence that the show wasn't working. But I'm very proud of that show. It was, and Christina was just. She just was a luminance.
She's a genius.
The best thing I think she ever did. She's just incredible. Yeah.
Certified genius.
Yeah.
Well, I love to hear it. I love to hear that. I'm sorry you got a raw deal, but it does mean that you were available for the middle.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So I can't complain. And then you just finished a super long stint on Young Sheldon. Mm-hmm. Back at the same look. If people don't know, the Young Sheldon house was the Heck house. So you were back on the ranch.
Yeah, the Mima's house, Annie Potts' character, she was in what is known as the Partridge Family house, which was right to the right of the Heck house.
Well, what was the Heck house? Because I saw it. It looked completely different.
The house we used for exteriors was actually in North Hollywood, like it was actually out in the real world.
Then what the hell was that house? Why'd they repaint it all beige?
Do you want to start over? Do you want to start over with the CD? This is really embarrassing for you.
No, I want this in because I want someone to tell me what that house turned into. Why did it look different? They repainted it. It looked all different.
Well,
I thought it was the Sheldon house.
They painted it a different color because when we first started shooting there, it was still that blue that the Heck House was, and they just didn't want people to catch a corner of it and say, "Hey, that's the Heck House." So they painted it, and I think added some trim or took off some trim or something like that.
Wow, this whole time I was like, it's got a new life. It's the young Sheldon house.
Sorry to shatter that for you. But,
Oy vey. So. Well, we have some stuff to talk to you about that is not me not knowing what anything is on the ranch. We have some real stuff.
Yeah.
So actually, speaking of young Sheldon, I do want to know, because you've now had 3, I guess you weren't on the middle the whole time, but it did feel like in spirit you were there the whole time because you really set it up. You really helped set the tone in those first couple of years. But you've now been on, so 2 long shows, Malcolm, and you finished Young Sheldon. How are you feeling? How does that feel?
Well, just also to be clear, I was a writer on Malcolm in the Middle, and a writer on The Middle, and I directed a couple episodes of each. And then about 10 years ago, I started noticing in writers' rooms, like, I think I'm the oldest guy in this room, and I'm going to leave this party before I'm politely told to leave. And I was starting to get some directing work outside of the shows I was working on, and really enjoying that. And so on Young Sheldon, I was just a director, but I directed a ton of them, and it's same as The Middle. It was just like such a fun set, and the cast all got along with each other, and it was just a delight to be there.
So the thing about, and I will say, and I don't know if it was like this, I know you, because you directed a ton of Young Sheldon, you like proper directed, but on The Middle, I don't remember you not, like, I don't have a single memory of you not being on set.
Well, it's funny. I went into that. I'd been on the set on the show before that on Samantha Who, and just sort of people who don't know, in comedy is a very delicate thing, and things can get misinterpreted and jokes get lost. If somebody who wasn't there when the jokes were written, to just kind of make sure that the jokes are landing, basically. And then be the eyes and ears for the showrunner, because the showrunner can't be everywhere at once. And so when I went in to meet with Eileen and Deanne, I led with, I don't want to be the set guy. I've been the set guy in the past 2 shows, and I was kind of burned out on set. And so I can't really tell the story without blowing smoke up my own butt. But anyway,
Do it.
We did the first 4 or 5 episodes. We were rotating people on set, and they weren't happy with how episodes were coming in that I wasn't on the set for. So I ended up being the set guy again. And I kept trying to get out of it, and even though I loved you guys, I was missing contact with the writers' room, So I was there a lot. And I remember after, really putting my foot down at some point and saying, I'm not going to be on the set for every friggin' episode. The first episode after that I wasn't on the set, I was in the writers' room like, what are they doing without me? You guys were on location, I think, at a football thing or something, and I was just like, I hope they're okay, but I hope they miss me. I was just like, really, I'm so like, what is wrong with me? And this is what I've been asking for, and then once I got it, I was like insecure about it or something.
You are a little bit of an actor whisperer. I'll say that. Right. And your presence is just, you are like in another life. I don't even know what the role for you on set is. It just to like be there. You were so needed. Things ran so much smoother when you were there. Everyone loved to hang out with you.
I was the grout in a wall of bathroom tile. That's
You
what
were.
Yeah.
You really were. And you're so good at it. You're just so. And so I understand that could probably get frustrating, but everyone missed you. Everyone was like, where's Alex? I'm sorry, I'm confused. What do you mean he's in the room? What do you mean? I know he's a writer. He can write from set, right? He can write from set.
Wait, so Alex, you're one of the people from the middle one of the rare people, I think it was just you and Eileen, who were both writers and also directed on the show. So like
Eileen didn't direct till the very end, right?
Yes, she maybe towards the back half of the series. Yeah.
Yeah,
but I guess you were the first person that pioneered that for us.
For the show, yeah.
So what does that look like when you're wearing the different hats?
Well, it's funny because I actually enjoyed. I liked directing when I was directing on a show I was writing on, but when I went to go direct for the first time on a show that I had no previous connection to, I liked it, and it's weird. I felt like I could be more frank with the actors because I just like if I accidentally said something to piss them off, I'd be like, all right, I'm out of here in a week. But I was trying to protect my relationships with the cast that, so I felt sometimes I had to couch things, and it's weird. Like, Patty was like, for a person of her caliber, she was so easy to direct because certain high-profile actors, you have to frame every note as a compliment, and
sure.
You could just go up to her and say, you just go up to Patty and go, no, that's not it. It's this other thing, and she'd be like, okay, what is it? Got it. I can't do it. Can you do it?
That sounds exhausting. Like needing to. Oh, God.
But Eden, remember when you give her a note and she goes, got it.
We all do it.
I can't do it.
But she understands you even before you're able to fully get out the note, and she completely.
Total pro, and frequently you could just tell her what the problem was, and then she'd go, okay, I know how to fix that. And then she would go off and fix it. Well, one thing, time moves so much faster on set. Then I know it doesn't seem like that when you're lighting for 3/4 of the time that you're actually on the soundstage. But when you're in a room, when I first started writing, I was just like, oh my God, we're spending like 3 hours to come up with this one joke. I can't believe how slow this is moving. And you have to kind of readjust your inner clock to that rhythm. And then you go on the set and it's just like, time is money, boom, boom, boom. And as burned out as I was being on set every week, the writer of the episode would come be on set too. And it was like they had been just let out of prison. They would just be like so happy. They were out of the room. Things were moving fast. It was exciting. Sometimes we're on location. We're doing cool stunts. And they weren't just, the writer's room is a 9-month meeting is what I always say. And it can be a grind, even when you're having fun. It's still ultimately it's a slow, tedious process.
God, it's so funny and maybe that it is because it's so slow moving. Writers, hearing that like writers are like, oh, I'm somewhere else, I'm out in the world. Because as an actor who's on set all the time, I remember because I became very close with Robin Shore, one of the writers who we will eventually have on. And I would hang out in her room as like a respite. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, oh, I'm in the writer's. Obviously, I wasn't in the writer's room with like all 9 or 10 or whatever of you. But I would literally, that was like my place to relax. I would like during lunch, I would just go into her room.
You're always
Can we hang out? It's such a nice pace here. It's so slow. It's so relaxing.
Yes. The grass is always greener, I guess.
Yeah. Alex, we always say if you're on the podcast, you're here to work. So you're here to break down the episode with us, okay?
Okay. I did watch it yesterday in case there was a quiz. I didn't know there was actually going to be a quiz, but yeah, I watched it.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
And the stakes are very high in that quiz, just so you know. Uh-huh.
And can I say something from watching this? And just so this can feel like a totally cheesy Hollywood podcast, I'm going to compliment Eden here. You stole that episode. I watched it again, and the scenes with you and Brick with Atticus and the montage of you digging a deeper and deeper hole with the phone calls. And it was also very well written because by the end, you weren't seeing the screw up. You were seeing Sue try to cover for the screw up that we had cut around, and it was just like letting the audience fill in the blanks. It was just very satisfying. And then when you finally come clean with the other kid's mother, you have like 8 attitudes in about a 15-second chunk there, where you are zigzagging and excited and then horrified and apologizing, and it was a delight. That episode for you, and as far as ones I was involved with, that one and the one where you and your friend go to an R-rated movie, those are my 2 favorite Sue stories.
Oh, right. Oh, I'm excited to watch that one again.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
thank
so funny.
you.
Yeah, you were great, Ian. It's so funny you mentioned that, Alex. That was actually my note. I said in that third scene, that third and final one, I said your turns, your reversals were chef's kiss. It was an art watching all of that and those sharp, precise little like changes back to back. You know
who it reminded me of actually is somebody I worked with later is Andy Samberg. If you watch, it's a totally different show, totally different character. But if you watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he'll have these long speeches where he's kind of almost having a conversation with himself and realizing he shouldn't have said that, and he can turn on a dime like that. And it's not everybody can do it, and it was very impressive. That's all I'm saying.
Well, thank you. I do. Sure. I feel like you must mean it, because there's no stake here. We're not working.
So I'm hoping
I'll take
can catch a ride to Bulgaria and maybe do some, day work.
You should, come to Bulgaria, do some punch up. Me as a guest on this movie, being like, I'm gonna bring a writer with me.
I'm gonna bring my own personal punch up guy.
I'm not even in those scenes, but I think you'll be glad once he put his fingerprints on it. Brock, if you'd been in the episode, we'd be complimenting you. But
thank you. I was waiting for you to say that, Alex. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Sure.
I wouldn't be, but you can. No, I will say it was honestly, but you do need to be directed, especially in season 1. I feel like a lot of that, like, I did have it in me, but a lot of those really tricky things where it's just you, like, it is about the direction. And I feel like whenever you were on set, I was very well directed. I was never led astray.
One thing you told me, Ian, that I said to you that I don't remember saying to you, but you said it clicked for you. And then I realized, and I actually had occasion to then use that for a few other young actors, which is being cool is not funny, and being cool is the enemy of funny. And I think there was, and I think it was in the block party. I think I saw a moment in a take where you were like the cool kid, like standing next to Charlie. I was like, no, he's got to be always anxious and lost and insecure always. And and so I was glad I was able to help you with that.
I can't believe you don't remember saying that. What the exact words you said were, cool is the antithesis of funny. And you are 100% right. It carried me through. It has carried me through. I think about it. It is my like base human emotion when it comes to performing. And
right.
it's the best thing anyone ever said to me.
Well, it actually, I think that realization came to me, and I won't say the show or the person, but I was watching something that I was a writer on, and one of the actors was kind of killing a scene, and not in a good killing way, because they were playing it cool, and they should have been agitated and worked up and overreacting to something, and they were just being cool. And I was a low level writer. I wasn't on set, and I probably wouldn't have said anything if I had been, because it wasn't my place. But watching it later, I was just like, that could have been so much better if he hadn't been trying to be cool. Yeah. Or she's been trying to be cool.
Yeah.
Good cover.
Okay.
Good
let's
cover.
Let's get into the episode now.
All right. So at home, Frankie and Mike realize the lump-eating cereal in his underpants can start contributing and helping out with Aunt Edie. Also, when Frankie realizes that Brick got invited to a birthday party this Saturday, she forces Brick to go.
My big complaint about this episode was there was not enough Charlie. And that first scene, he's just golden. Always in his underwear and so much attitude. And that little pouty face he makes when he's saying that his car is broken it's just gold.
You know what? I completely see your point, and I'd be so up for doing the whole old lady thing today, except sadly my car doesn't work.
Oh, you can drive mine.
And one other thing I want to just take credit for, the position of the couch in the Heck house. when they first showed us the plans for the house, the couch was going to be on the wall where the TV is, and the TV was going to be where the couch is. And I said, if you put the couch where it actually is, you can do shots. You can connect the couch to the kitchen, and you actually use that shot in the scene over Charlie to the parents looking at him disapprovingly. So that's my lasting contribution to the middle.
Wow.
I think they would have figured it out. I think as soon as they got there, they would have figured it out. But just, I was the one who noticed it first, I guess. So.
Well, that's how
crazy.
you're so good. You have the foresight to know before it even becomes a problem that you're thinking 10 steps ahead, knowing that that's going to be a useful shot for, especially in these opening scenes when there's a million things happening because we have to get out a million plot points all in that opening scene like the middle always does. It's used all the time.
Well, I think one of the reasons it popped into my head was, frankly, working on Malcolm in the Middle. And if you watch episodes of that, the couch and the kitchen, it's the same orientation except flipped. And we did so many shots of kids on the couch being jerks and the parents back in the kitchen talking about it or having some other story. And that's I think basically how I arrived at that. But anyway, back to Charlie being awesome.
I can't imagine. I really can't imagine it being any other way because not just in this episode, there are so many extra like bonus gags that you get from that. Just in one we watched earlier this season where Charlie and Frankie and Mike are on the couch watching TV, and then in the background there's no lines. It's not even, I don't think it's even acknowledged, or maybe it is, I don't know, but me and Charlie like fighting, like physically fighting in the background behind them. And that shot, it just worked. It was perfect. I can't imagine. Yeah, you'd lose so much if you didn't have the inclusion of everything.
There was a Malcolm in the Middle episode. It's actually one that I wrote where everybody forgot the mom's birthday, and the dad had set up a timer on his watch, and it had stalled out. And so the kids are obliviously watching TV in the foreground, and Hal is in the background beating the table with his watch because he's just so angry. And again, it's just like, I love shots like the one you're talking about in that one, where the joke is just in the background for you to enjoy.
So everyone was awesome in that first scene, and then then Mike picks up we're at Ehlert's when Ehlert was still there. Mike picks Frankie up at work, and Mike and Ehlert hit it off. And because Ehlert, it's a perfect character choice. Perfect as it would be. He's a misogynist, and Mike is the man's man. So, and Ehlert ends up giving Mike 2 tickets to the Final Four this Saturday.
Yes, and it'll come in. Those tickets are the size of billboards, and I'll have something to say about that in a later scene. In Sue's room, Brick has a minty V, which is, I guess, kids speak for mental breakdown.
I just wanted Alex to say minty V.
I know, I love it.
All right. I had a minty V about attending the birthday party. He tries to convince Sue by complimenting her adult voice, and I love at that moment when Sue comes around and sits down next to him and goes, "Really?" It's fantastic.
You could call his mom and tell her I can't come.
Brick, I can't do that.
Sure you can. You have such a grown-up voice.
Really?
Wow. You sounded so mature when you just said that.
And he's bribing her by doing her math homework to pose as Frankie on the phone and help him avoid the party. And she seemingly pulled it off.
Do you have, what are your, tell me if you have anything about this scene that you remember.
I don't remember. Usually my memory is like, wow, that went a lot faster than I thought it would, because it's just like, it's like complicated, but you guys were always so on. And also just this is more of a macro thing, but something I really did learn from Eileen was about how important reactions are from the other person in the scene. And she was always so obsessed with having a reaction to go out on a scene. And like more than once we go out on Brick just shaking his head at you, just in disappointment. And also not really, there isn't a lot of that in this episode, but she was also very big on getting looks between the parents. Like they keep connecting them as a couple, and that I really can't. That is something that I really focused on when I would do dinner scenes on young Sheldon, because the mother and the father sat next to each other at the table, and no matter what the story was, I would always get a 2-shot of them and get overs, because no matter what was happening, they were going to have some kind of look or understanding between them, and that's, I credit Eileen for instilling that in me.
It definitely is. That was a running bit all 9 years. That was the like, share a look. Do you want us to share a look? Do you want us to share a look? We can share a look. Oh, I don't think we shared any looks in this scene.
Right.
But it's a delicate thing too, because you can't just both turn at the same time, because then it looks so choreographed. So somebody has to take the lead by a millisecond, and then the other person turn, and then so are you going to discuss it first? Who's going to look at each other? And then it gets so mechanical, you just want to kill yourself. So,
yeah. And it's the perfect thing to fill the time when Frankie has, a paragraph of a voiceover, and it just cuts back and forth to these reaction shots. You can't just be staring blankly at each other.
Yeah, and frequently also, and I think we a couple times. Oh yeah, when she looks at when she's looking at Charlie on the couch and realizing he can help her. There's a little voiceover there, and you eat that time up with just doing a little camera push. We did a lot of little camera moves to help cover voiceover, and we always had somebody on set reading the voiceover, right?
Robin, yeah. Robin Skelton. It's funny that you say the really, because that was the beginning. That was the very beginnings of really, and I was not sure. I was still, season 1 is still like, I don't know what I'm doing. Am I gonna get fired? Who knows? Like, each episode was a little bit more confident that I wouldn't get fired, but I was still in the like, I don't know. And I remember I wasn't sure if I like actually nailed that scene. And I have a distinct memory of I think it was the take that was used. I don't know, some take where I said, he was like, you have a really adult voice. And I slid over and said, and did the like, really? Or maybe I was the 4th or 5th one where I was like, just kept getting goofier with it. And I heard your laugh in Video Village.
Yeah. Try not to do that, but yeah, sometimes.
No, it was like, oh, okay, I don't think they're lying, because I don't think he was supposed to laugh, and I think he did, so that's a good sign. It was a moment for me in my, honestly, like in my career, being like, oh, okay, I did it. I did it, and that was funny. We can move on. Let's move on.
Right. Yeah. It was a great scene. Great scene.
Right.
All of the scenes with you guys around the phone, just gold.
Later that afternoon, Frankie gets a call from Aunt Edie saying her great uncle Mac died, and his funeral is planned for Saturday.
At the time, I remember just being like, really? These tickets are so big, and they're sticking out of Mike's pocket. Do we really need this little visual cue so the audience knows what's going on? But then I went home and, by sheer coincidence, was watching an episode I directed with my family, and I realized for the first time how most of America watches TV, which is barely, and you need stuff like that. They're taking phone calls, people are on their computer, and it's just like you just talk through a joke that the room spent 4 hours coming up with, it's just, and so I don't think it pays to be subtle with commercial network television, frankly.
No. My boyfriend's a producer, and so one of the notes he got from, I forget if it was from the studio or from the network, that he needed to relay to his writer was just like, they said, this is a second screen show, so people are going to be on their cell phones, so you need to strip down the plot a little bit more, because they need to be on their phone and listening and still be able to understand what's going on. So they said, our TV show, No Shade, is a second screen show, so tell your writer to pull back the plot a little bit and make it just a little bit more simplistic.
Second screen show. I have not heard that. Oh my God.
An insane thing that absolutely, that is a real, that's going to be a term that's used like from forever in history now. Like, we're going to not know where it came, or just gonna be like, we're a second screen show. So this is the format, this is how we have to, this is the vibe, this is the tone. People are gonna use it as like a tone, like the tone, it's goofy, it's light, it's second screen.
I've never been this depressed. Unbelievable.
Second
Oh
guessing
my
all your
God.
career choices.
It's a version of the only thing I will say about it is this is not new. I've always said, because of the way that I get recognized and the way I think a lot of TV people get recognized, the way your brain processes sitcom people is like just when you see them, the way I get recognized is, did we go to college together? Like, oh, did we where do I know you from? Because what happens is I'm just in your home. I'm like, I was on in the background for a decade while you did your homework.
Right.
That's like, that is how you are consuming my presence.
Right.
So that's why I get recognized in this weird way. But so being a second screen show it's always been around. You're cooking dinner, you're doing homework. That's how it is. Now we just have our phones, unfortunately, which is not great.
Well, the worst would be, unfortunately, you're a fourth screen show, so you've really basically just got to use monosyllabic words and primary colors, or you're going to lose them.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Back to our second screen episode. After Frankie tells Sue and Brick about the passing, Sue and Brick realize that real Frankie, is going to have to call about the birthday party. And Frankie will find out about the fake call.
Yes. And I love the little pointing to Brick at the end of that of like, we have to have a sidebar. That was great.
We did a lot of those. I feel like that was a thing. The like, can we sidebar? That became a sort of, a classic thing. And then when I start to spiral about the voicemail, when Sue starts to spiral with voicemail after voicemail after voicemail, Brick yanks the cord from the wall to stop the madness.
My favorite part of the episode.
Oh, really?
That montage is the high point for me.
That's actually my question for you. So I feel like we have 3 scenes, more or less, that take place around the same plot point in the same room. How, as like a director, are you thinking about that, approaching that, shooting that to make sure that it's visually interesting, it's keeping the audience's attention when it's just the same plot point, elevating and escalating, but we're in the same like setting, same clothing, all that stuff?
The montage, I think what we did, we made sure that even you were always in a different position for each one of those. And I think I probably toyed with the idea of locking the camera off and then you would just pop to different places. But I think ultimately that didn't feel like the show. And it's a little bit conspicuous to me for the show. It's like I think it would have distracted from what was really funny about the scene, which is you digging a deeper and deeper hole. If it was something about how it was just going on forever and ever and ever, I think a lock off might have been funny if it was just like, and even more setups. But to convey the emotional implosion that was going on, I think it was better to not be distracting with the camera. And we just sold it with you just being in different positions and ultimately in more desperate body language with each part of that.
I do think it did come through. It is, like we're talking about, it can be tricky when it's kind of just like you're in the same room, potentially the same wardrobe, and it's kind of the same gag. It's like the same joke, multiple times. I think it's tricky having it still read as an arc, like have a real differentiation between the first time I make the call and the last time. And I think that, I'm not going to take credit for it. I think the writing and the directing and the everything, it did come. It was, the joke felt different by the end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know this for sure, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if, we obviously shot each segment multiple times, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if we had you ramp it up inside each take, and then they could mix and match later when they're editing and then build it as they saw fit. I would bet that's what we did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? Again, the stuff like this was the best practice for any sort of, when I worked on other stuff, I see people I'm like, you want to just do a series of them? And it also helped with it, if you do animation work, it's the same. Yeah. It's like, if you're not able, I feel like it's fun to do okay, the line is like, hey, Brock, if you want me to I'll just do a series like, hey, Brock, hey, Brock, hey, Brock.
Right. Exactly. And you might just accidentally come onto something that you never would have thought of because you're not even thinking about it. It's just,
Exactly.
Some actors really bristle at the thought of doing a series, but I like that you were totally fine with it.
Oh yeah, I loved it.
I actually, again, I won't name the actor, but I worked on a show where sometimes the actor would stop and go, just let me do a series. And then he would do 3 the exact same performances. There was not one micron of difference in the 3. They were it's like, okay, yeah, great. I think the second one. Yeah, we'll go with the second one.
Off mic, you gotta tell me.
Back in the kitchen, Mike doesn't want to miss the final 4 for a guy he barely knows. Frankie tries to explain that the funeral is to support Aunt Edie, but after a big fight, Mike begrudgingly agrees to go to the funeral. And with another fight the next morning, Frankie only wants him to go because he wants to go, so he's now not coming to the funeral. And this was also what a great example of what the show did well. And before, I never worked on it, but I was always a big fan of Everybody Loves Raymond. And in that show, they would take a very small story and spend a half an hour on it. And it was just like a little gem that they would just turn it in every possible direction, and you would see every little facet of it. And this back and forth and the subtle nuances of, I want you to go, but you have to want to go. And it's just like, well, I'm going. Who cares? It's just that they just can't get on the same page with this. It's just so real. And it's just very satisfying to see them totally dig in to all the ways the story could play out.
Yeah. It's so funny you mentioned that, because the moment that she's writing on the pad and she realizes that it's Saturday and what he wants, my mind, and even like how the cadence in which she was speaking, I was like, this feels so Raymond, because it feels reminiscent of Raymond, because they were really good at, like, again, the small story, but they really were like looking at it from the angle of the arguments between husband and wife. And that's kind of what this is, at least in the second act. It's them kind of at odds, and you see them on different sides of a very, very small issue.
Well, I think also on both shows, and I was, as I said that, I wasn't even thinking about the Patty connection, but I know a lot of the Raymond writers, and I was in the middle writers' room until I got banished to the set. But stories frequently began with something that really happened to one of the writers, and so that helps bring some reality to the show. Get to spin off into fantasy land.
Well,
Alex,
I
what
do
stories
have to
of
say,
yours made it to air?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. The one where Brick finds out that there's no Santa Claus, and then he doesn't believe anything they tell him. That was pretty close to something that happened to me.
Really?
And I remember I didn't lay under the tree with just my legs sticking out, having an existential breakdown like Brick did. But I think it was really me just being pissed at them, and so just throwing it back in their face. Like, why should I? I was being way more of a dick. I wasn't having like a genuine crisis like Brick did, but I just would throw it back in their face. Like, why should I believe you? Or why should I do that? Everything he told me is a lie. I was like, I don't know, 8 or 9. But
that sounds like you.
I was a fun kid.
Me too. That sounds like I threw a tantrum about the tooth fairy not being real. No one told me they weren't real. I got a dollar, whatever, under my pillow, and I, as an 8-year-old who self-proclaimed was never a child, like I told my mother, like, I'm not a child, mother, and I'm like 3'9", like I'm not a child, mother.
Yeah.
But I threw a tantrum also, being like, she's not real. Admit she's not real. So my mom was like, fine, she's not real. And I was like, why did you ruin the tooth fairy for me?
Take this dollar and buy a conscience with it.
Yeah. One thing I do just want to say about this fight, though, because I I am reminded of when I think of fights like this on Raymond, that I agree, were done well. I now, as a married person, I feel like on Raymond, and like, thank God, thank God they got Patricia Heaton to play Deborah, because that character could have been just so unlikable, and she just brought this empathy, she brought this life to it. And I think when I see fights specifically like on Raymond or like a lot of shows in the 90s, I'm like, I don't see myself in those fights. That is like, what is this, like this nag? You've got like a naggy wife and this like dopey husband, and like I just don't. That's not my relationship. I don't see it.
Yeah, it's very tired, that dynamic.
It is, and I'll credit Eileen and Deanne. I think it is having that different perspective, having women run a show, and having two married women having it from their perspective. Yeah. This fight that I saw, that is a fight that I have 100%. That is a fight that I was like, oh, we've had that for sure. Like, well, you don't have to want to. Like, I just want you to want to. Fine, I'm not going to make you. I don't want to. I don't want to be that person. I'm just like, fine. I don't want you. I'd rather you not be a drag there. But like, how come you don't want to go? That's just what I feel like I've said that. Like, I want you to want to go.
Right, right. Well, that's a good point about Patty, because, almost every time, weirdly, on Raymond, you were on her side. Correct. I mean, even though it's about a show about him, he's just a dumbass sometimes. That there was one where they were going to do a anniversary party for his parents, and she says, I'm not planning this. I want nothing to do with it. And then she just sat there and watched Ray and his brother try to plan it. And it's like, well, should we get some potato chips? And she finally was just like, all right, forget it. I'm doing it. And I think it's the same with the middle. I mean, what I do like though is Mike is not a dumbass.
No.
He's a guy, and he wants his life uncomplicated, and he has very simple sounds derogatory, but he has very simple things he wants out of life, and just don't get in the way of that. And that actually, one other thing, I don't know if I ever told you about this, Eden, but when it was, I think we were in pre-production, there was a moment when I realized, oh, wait a minute, these two really know what this show is. And I'm talking about Eileen and Deanne. And we were just like spitballing episode ideas, and somebody pitched something about what if Patty, or what if Frankie had always had dreams as a kid of being an actor and had done some school plays and stuff, and then she gets married and she has to let all that go, and she's frustrated. And Eileen and Deanne shut that down immediately and said, these are people from the Midwest. You're projecting your own stuff on them. They don't think like that. They just want to have a job and provide for their families and put clothes on their back and have cars that they can get to work in and have everybody be healthy. And it was just like, that is so obvious, but also profound at the same time. It was just totally. Like, and it kind of really kind of made the whole room kind of lock in on what the show was.
Totally.
All right. So Sue, she's having her own mentee bee about potentially getting caught. Wait, actually, can you give me one more mentee bee, Alex? Just one more. Just say it for me real quick.
Sue's having her own mentee bee.
Perfect. That's perfect. About potentially getting caught by Frankie. So Brick has a solution. One final call to say someone's been posing as Frankie, making fake calls. That way, they're in the clear no matter what. But of course, Sue's conscience, because Sue is Sue, bless her soul, Sue's conscience wins, and she tells Mrs. Akola everything and hangs up. And this is the episode, or this is the scene where I was like, there are those turns, those are the reversals, expertly done.
Yeah, just amazing.
Hello? Who is this?
Oh, hi! You're there! Yeah! So I was just saying how we're both moms, and we both know how hard it is when we're trying to go to the bathroom and the kids are pounding on the door, right? Wait! This isn't Frankie Heck, it's Sue Heck. It's always been Sue Heck. I'm so sorry. I've never done anything like this before in my whole life, but I got a 79 on my math test and I needed my brother's help and I'm just so weak. Please don't tell my mom.
And it's not like we did cuts in it either. It's just all one take, and you did it all yourself. You didn't have to build it in post.
I did. I have a question about this. I have a distinct memory of doing at least one take in a British accent. Did this never happen?
Is it possible that's the movie episode when you're buying tickets at the booth that you've affected a British accent? Is that possible?
Was it? I thought it was. I have this memory. I thought I had a memory of doing it in a British accent, and Brick like even having a line being like, "Why are you British?" Maybe not.
Maybe that was in the script and it got lifted. I don't know, but that would have been hilarious. I think you probably did it there or in the movie thing.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll when we get to the movie one, I'll be like, oh, there it is. It was somewhere in there. This is a very sweet moment. When Axel brings home a photo album from Aunt Edie's, Mike sees how Edie was there for them when they needed her way back when, and this time he genuinely wants to go to the funeral.
And we do a little camera push on him because he's having a moment.
Of course.
Yep.
Of course.
Really utilized. We already talked about the camera pushing, but truly, I feel like the finding the balance between camera movements and keeping the camera out of the comedy. It's a real fine balance because you don't want to distract with fancy camera movements.
Yeah,
and so
as like cool is the antithesis of comedy. Being too cinematic is also a comedy killer.
Exactly.
You can pick. You have to. I think it's nice to pick spots and do some cinematic stuff. Like there was we had a huge budget on Young Sheldon, so I had like a super techno crane and like almost every other episode I did where we would do like cool camera shit. But it was you had to pick your spots. You certainly didn't do it during a joke. You gotta try to avoid people walking on jokes, walk and talks frequently, or although they did it on Veep and 30 Rock, there were a lot of walk and talks that had some jokes, but I think I would contend they would have been funnier if the people weren't moving.
Yes.
And just because you have the budget to do something crazy doesn't mean you should do something crazy.
Exactly. And because the first Young Sheldon I did, I had 3 different days where I had a super techno crane, and it wasn't gratuitous. There were actually real reasons that we needed them, and in one instance it was just to save time because we were shooting in a college auditorium, and instead of hiking the camera up these steps and the dolly and all that, just reached out there with a dolly arm and went a lot faster. But it's always a balance too, because I think actors can get squirrely too if they're just sitting there the whole time. It's just like, I need some business here. Can we find a place where I stand up or sit down or cross, because I just feel like I'm nailed to the floor right now. So that's along with camera movement, you got to pick your spots there. And when I'm prepping, I'll try to anticipate that and look for moments like, I was thinking here you could cross over to this person or cross away from them, or this is an opportunity where you could go get coffee while they're talking or whatever. But it's also, rehearsals too are a delicate process, because you walk in there and the crew and the actors want to feel like you have a plan, that you put some thought into this, but they also don't want to just feel like marionettes that are being told, now go stand here on that line and then turn on this line. So you have to find the balance. And I always just kind of frame it of like, here's what I was thinking. and then hopefully they like it. If they don't, it's like, okay, well, let's figure it out then. But it's and frankly, most of the time actors they don't want to be there any longer than they have to be, so they'll find a way to make what you came up with work. Like, you've probably seen it where an actor makes a suggestion and then as they're saying it, they like, oh wait, but then we're going to be here another hour if we do that. It's like, oh, it's all right. I'll figure this out. Okay, we'll just leave it as you did it.
The only suggestions I ever made, if I've made a suggestion about blocking, it was like it was always like I cross-referenced. I was like, does this make more sense logically? Okay, if it checks that off, yes. And does it eliminate an angle of coverage?
Right.
Yes. Well, it's funny you say that, because in the pilot, when I saw the pilot, I told Eileen and Deanne they were geniuses because the dinner scene was everybody sitting, watching TV and eating off TV trays. And I said, you don't have to, go around the horn at a dinner table. You should just do all your dinner scenes like this. And I don't think they ever did it again. But it was just like, if I ever get a show on the air, the family's going to eat in front of the TV, and you're going to shoot a dinner scene in like an hour and a half as opposed to 5 hours.
Yeah.
There's been scenes where it's just like, I can't picture this until it's in front of me, Totally. And I just have to, there's too many moving parts, and I'm on a set that is still being built. I can't really get in there and nail it all down in advance. And so you just have to come in and fortunately, before I ever really started directing, I was on set for so many episodes. So it got to the point where there was really nothing that could be thrown at me that I hadn't seen before. So I felt, and I never did this, but I always wanted, it would just be too terrifying, but to just direct an episode without prepping it at all, just to see if I could do it. Just walk in and just like, okay, here's the script. All right. Okay, you go over there, you get over here, and just do it off the top. I think I could do it if there wasn't anything too insane in it, but it's the thought of doing that is terrifying. There's just so much money at stake.
Right.
And there are directors who do that. I mean, I keep hearing from line producers about directors, not a ton of directors, but there are directors out there that it's just like they clearly were coming up with this plan while they were lighting the previous scene. On Malcolm in the Middle, the guy who created that show was he was a genius. He was absolutely a genius, but he was intense and he did not suffer fools gladly. And the angriest I would ever see him get was when he was on set and he realized the director had not prepped adequately. And that kind of put the fear of God in me. So it is really just a fear of failure. For me, it's just like, I don't want to be in that position. I can't imagine coming into a day where, it's like having that dream that you didn't study for the test. It would have just been too terrifying. And it also just lets you relax a little bit, that you just, you've done your homework and this is a bit of a tangent. You can edit this down. If I'm taking too much time. But I was doing an episode of Life in Pieces that was on CBS.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And
great show.
And and James Brolin was the patriarch on that show. And he's directed TV movies and stuff. And I had been told in advance he's going to be watching you because he's a director and he's going to be sizing you up and deciding if you're someone he can trust. And we had this scene it was a giant cast. It's the biggest cast I've ever worked on. So it was like 14 people were series regulars.
Oh my God.
And we were doing a scene with all of them. Yeah, we were doing this 4-page scene with all of them. And we started blocking it out, and then somebody knocks at the door, and I thought, okay, then you guys come over here, and da-da-da. And then a couple of the actors said, I don't think I'd go to the door. I think I would stay over here. And I realized they were right. And so kind of on the fly had to reconfigure the whole plan, and it ate up some time. And when we finished the scene, everybody was really happy with it. And James Brolin was walking by, and I said, well, that took longer than I thought. That went longer than planned, but I think it turned out okay. And he goes, well, the important thing was you had a plan. And it's just like, as long as they sense that you put some thought into it, even though maybe it was the wrong plan, they just don't want to feel like you're taking them for granted or being glib about the job,
Yeah, 100%.
Anyway,
okay. Yeah.
My turn here.
Yes.
It's Saturday when Sue tries to confess her sins to Frankie. Frankie thanks her for stepping up to the plate and helping out. And on their way out after recording the game, Mike starts to feel pain in his stomach. And this reminded me of those old Elizabethan costume dramas where somebody coughs in a scene, and you're like, okay, they've got consumption. They're going to die before this is over.
Yes.
It was pretty clear. But the thing that I loved about this scene was, but at what cost, Brick?
Yeah.
I have to be honest.
At what cost? You built on top of yourself.
At what
Perfect.
Cost?
I never like to it's always, I feel like, embarrassing. It's embarrassing to me when I laugh at myself. It's always like, okay, all right. It's so, come on, stop with the self-pat. But I actually made me laugh. I made me laugh with that one.
But as Brock pointed out, though, saying the same line twice is kind of this arch thing that I don't think anybody actually says in real life. But Sue is such a drama queen. I think it was earned. I loved it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Mike recording the game is exactly how I watch Survivor. I have to record it and then watch it all at once. No spoilers. Can't go on
your
Twitter.
VCR?
Exactly, on my VCR.
I loved that because I was like, when I saw the VCR, I was like, oh my God, what year wasn't this 2010? And then it was perfect. It was first of all, it was like just late enough that someone in the world absolutely would still be recording on the VCR, and their kid absolutely would be like, what are you doing, Grandpa?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
But then Axel was saying that with this like steam-driven flip phone from like the turn of the century. But he's got all this attitude.
That's really cutting edge. You're taping that in your VCR. But for those of us who aren't living in the 80s, I'll be getting tweets of the score sent to me during the funeral.
You so much as breathe a word of that score to me, and that phone's going on the ground with Uncle Mac.
Oh, it's so funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
At the funeral, when Edie goes up to give her speech, she thinks it's her birthday party, but Frankie doesn't have the heart to tell her. So all the hoopla about supporting Edie didn't really matter. Mike could have gone to the game after all.
And this is probably the scene I was the most worried about because our two aunts were in it, and they were very, very sweet ladies, but they were total wild cards. You just never knew how there they would be, and this is terrible, but if one of them had to use the bathroom, you might as well get in your car and go home for an hour because it was a very long process. But I admired Eileen and Deanne for going for people that were actually as old as the characters they were playing instead of getting someone in their 60s and aging them up with hair and makeup. I mean, you really felt that these ladies were dancing on the edge of reality.
Yeah. Jeanette, oh, bless her. Bless her. That woman could talk for hours. If you did not interrupt her, she could literally talk for hours, and you never knew where it was going. You never ever knew if it was gonna, and that's the thing is that 51% of the 50% of the time it circled back, and I was like, oh my God, you knew you had a point. You knew exactly where you were going.
It took a minute, but she got there.
You did, right. And we could have rolled we needed to roll 10 minutes ago. But you know what? That was a worth it story about in the 60s at some party with you. I feel like she was always talking. It always came back to a party. Let's get back to a party with Jeanette.
Decide later if you want to cut this little anecdote. But I remember we had finished a scene with them, and it was the last scene of the day, and we were walking out, and I can't remember which one of the aunts was outside with her car and a key, and she was just staring at the key, and it's what the AD, or I don't know, somebody in the crew walked by and said, "Do you need any help?" And she held the key up and said, "What do I do with this?" And that's when they realized we have to start picking them up at their house and driving them here. I don't think people even knew that they were driving themselves. I mean, it was just like, oh my God, this should not be happening. So from then on, they were picked up in a car service or in a transpo van and brought to the stage.
When Mike and Axel head out to try and make the second game, Mike's pain hits a crescendo. This is the moment. Next thing he knows, he is on a stretcher and off to get his appendix removed. I have to say, I thought it was, and maybe I'm remembering wrong, the surgeons were all in masks, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you know why?
Yes, I was going to say that. I literally stopped it, and I
mean,
went,
they would have been in masks anyway, but it helped us with the production problem.
I called Cronny. I called my husband. I said, Cronny, they did something so clever. They did something so clever on the show. And he was like, all right, what did they do this time? I I was like, okay, so the episode about the Final Four and the whole episode, Mike is like, don't talk to me about the episode. Don't talk to me, don't talk to me about the game. Like, don't spoil anything. Don't spoil anything. And the last scene, you know, they're like as so he has his appendix removed, and like it's just like him going out, and the doctors are talking about the game, but obviously we shot this in, I don't know, January.
Right.
And so they had all the surgeons in masks, and they had them say, great day to be a Duke fan, but they're all in masks, so you can't see their lips. Amazing, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty
So
clever.
I don't know if we had him say every possible school, or it was, or I think we brought him in later, you know, because we did the brackets hadn't even been set yet. Like nobody even knew who
was going to be there
in the tournament. So I think they brought that actor in, or an actor, it might not even been that guy, to just say that line.
I
they
figured it
could've
was
dubbed him
ADR.
Yeah. What, Brian?
They could have dubbed him over, like you said, ADR.
Yeah, exactly.
I just figured it was 80. I was like, that's such a clever way to do it, because I've seen it on 30 Rock before where they do stuff like that, but they really paint it, and they're just like, they'll literally go like blah 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 and then put it in post.
Right.
But I liked that a lot. Like that end.
Well, Alex, this was one of our most illuminating episodes. It's so fun having, Eden and I usually break down the episodes ourselves, and then we bring in just for an interview. We've just started trickling in our guests as part of like the breakdown process. And I've got to say, having you being able to comment on every single step, every single scene is so fun. And the fans are going to love it too. That was fantastic.
Oh my God, wait. Sorry. I just needed to include one thing that I forgot that I just want to tell our listeners about this episode. I forgot. In the fight with Frankie and Mike, this is unrelated to anyone except for this. When she says, not like your family, you just put them in a hole and drink.
Yes.
That line, I was like, oh my God, they said it. I forgot that literally came from an episode. That was a runner through all 9 seasons. We talked about, they constantly referenced put him in a hole and drink. Every time someone died, they would talk about that. They were like, well, are you Irish? Because they were like, Irish, you know, like Neil. We constantly talked about Neil, because, you know, we were on for a while, and so people in our families, older people, like people actually did die, and we would constantly be like, well, did you stick him in a hole and drink? That's what you do, right? So I heard it and I was like, oh my God, there it is.
Yeah, the way they painted a picture, without seeing too much of it, of Mike's family and how emotionally withdrawn everybody was, and Norm Macdonald playing his brother was perfect. And
oh my God.
Wasn't there an episode where Norm was like living in a tent across the street, and because his whole life had blown up on him, and he was fine with it? And, and Mike was fine with it, and it was only Frankie who was like, we got to do something about this.
It's a fantastic family. Okay.
Here's what we got. We got the trivia. So gird your loins, do what you got to do.
All right.
We call it we do the blue bag grab because the blue bag was infamous on ABC's The Middle. Have you heard of it? The running joke. So trivia questions come from the blue bag. Eden, take it away with question number 1.
All right. Question 1. Alex, from this episode, what did Aunt Edie put in the microwave in the first scene?
VHS tape?
Ding, 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 ding!
Good.
Very nice.
See, you're going to be great.
Yeah, you're going to be fine.
You're both a writer and a director for, as we mentioned, ABC's hit comedy, The Middle, nominated for 1 Emmy Award. I'm going to list 3 different episodes, and you have to tell me if you wrote it or if you directed it. So episode 105, The Block Party. Did you write or direct?
I wrote that, and I was very proud of how that turned out. I listened to Ken on there, and he left out the big thing with that was we were supposed to get an establishing shot with the crane, and we ran out of daylight, and it was bad. We went back to the showrunner's office and had to nobody was really keeping track of it, and then we went over to the DP and said, okay, now we got to get the crane. He's like, do what you want, but there's no light. So they constructed it in post. We had enough of just almost like B-roll that they just put that stuff in at the beginning instead of a big wide block party shot. But that was, I think, my first, I said how they loved everything while I was on set. That was not one of the things they loved while I was on set, because I should have been more cognizant of the time, and just because they really wanted that shot. But if we'd gotten that shot, there's other shots we wouldn't have gotten, because we had a fine.
We wouldn't have had the Mitch Hunter eating like a hot dog or something that happened as part of the establishing shot.
I mean, we also wouldn't have all been so. Probably one of the actors was occupying you. Was probably
Which one?
No, sorry, Alex
Which
isn't available
actor?
right now. We're in conversation. He's keeping me calm.
All right.
There was, anyway, I when I went back and watched the episode, it's just like I really felt something when Mike was driving off with Brick on the mower.
Yeah.
It was really,
it's an iconic episode.
It landed. Another tangent, but when you're the writer on set, directors, and I've probably done this to writers too, like they'll just, after a take, they'll just go cut, and they'll just go running in there and give notes, and it's just like, you didn't talk to the writer. Maybe the writer had an idea, or maybe something that happened out there is diametrically opposed to what should have happened, and you're going out there and reinforcing it without talking to the writer. Kim never did that. He would say cut, and then he would just turn and say, and we would have a conversation about the take. And, his instincts were, right 99% of the time. But it was just nice that he respected that the writer had to be there and have their input. So.
Yeah,
and a lot of directors don't get that. They think they're making their little half-hour indie film, and they don't understand why a writer is there offering any input.
Their indie film for 8 p.m. on ABC.
Yeah, their second screen indie film.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, two more. 204, The Quarry. Did you write or direct?
I think I wrote that.
You sure did. And then 215, Friends, Lies, and Videotape. Did you write or direct?
Oh, I totally directed that. That was the one with Axel's music video, I think.
Mm-hmm. And that's the one with
the teacher.
Yeah, and that's the one with the movie too, where you go do the movie.
Yes.
It's that same one.
That take. That's another take where you have that breakdown in front of Dad, and you tear the poster off the wall to reveal the hole in the wall. That was one of those where we had like 2 cameras on it, and we got everything we needed in the first take. And I think we only did a second take because it was so much fun watching you do it. And it was just like, I don't want to walk away from this yet. I want to see you have another breakdown.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Did you have something to say about that second one? I'm just curious because you took a breath like you did. I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, well, I was just trying to remember. That was the one where they make Axel come work at the quarry, but then there's this guy working there as a total reprobate who drives a Camaro. And Axel gets seduced by this guy that he's like the cool guy, and it was totally not what they were trying to build character. And Axel just gets worse because he's hanging out with this loser who, that was a fun episode.
That was Chuck, right? Isn't that was that the Chuck's first episode? I think it was.
Talk about someone who was like their character, Chuck.
Very much.
Oh yeah.
Not a lot of daylight between. Fiction and nonfiction there.
Yeah.
But shooting in that trailer was such a nightmare because it was elevated, if I remember, and just getting equipment up in there, and it was very tight quarters. That was those were rough.
But you did it. You did it great.
Yeah.
No one remembers that it was bad.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. This is a rapid fire. It's 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. You're directing an episode of Young Sheldon. The cameras are turning around. You have 20 minutes. You go to the crafty snack table. You peruse it very carefully. You make your decision. What are you grabbing?
Probably pretzels filled with peanut butter.
Oh, correct. Ding, 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 ding. Correct.
There was no right answer, but there is a right answer.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't realize there was.
Yes, I have to credit our mutual friend Jaffer Mahmood for that.
Oh.
He was always eating those when I would run across him on set, and he said, "Oh my God, you're living half a life. You haven't had these." So
you were an adult when you discovered peanut butter pretzels?
Yeah.
Thank you, Jaffer.
Thank you, Jaffer.
Jaffer, talk about someone whose career is on fire always.
I know. I'm gonna have to stop following him on Instagram because his career is really starting to make me hate my own.
I know. It makes me feel bad about myself. I was like, oh, why aren't I on the great? Okay.
Yeah, amazing show.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, if you can get in the ballpark of these two numbers, we'll be pleased. In your career,
Okay.
how many episodes of TV have you written, and how many have you directed? I will
Definitely
say,
directed
Veej.
more.
Veej was,
I'm
he
sorry?
said literally spot on with his number with the episodes of TV he's written. It was
Yeah, we had
crazy.
Veej on, and it was
Yeah.
crazy how. So if you get in the ballpark, in the same.
in the ballpark.
Yeah. Like,
Well, in my defense, I'm not as obsessed with myself as Vigil is.
Of
so-
course. Yeah. You're not on IMDb every single day like he
Yeah.
was.
Yeah. If you're going to have a conversation with Vigil, you better be ready to talk about Vigil. That's all I'm saying.
You're correct, but you know
yeah.
what? I sure do love talking about Veej as much as
Can I
he does.
tell you, Vigil's my favorite person in that writer's room. And
Yeah.
can I tell you a story? He got married towards the end of season 1, and it was an Indian wedding, which is a huge production. And he's riding in on a horse. You know, he's in the full regalia. And I was standing nearby talking to him when the woman who was Indian comes over, and she's organizing the whole thing. And she looks at me and she goes, "You're tall, you'll do." And she pulls me over and she gives me this giant umbrella that I'm supposed to stand next to Deej with and hold it over him. It's like it's part of the ceremony. And we're sitting there talking, and I'm just feeling like I've only known Vigil for like 5 months. I should not be playing this prominent part in this wedding. And I finally said, "Should I be doing this? Do you want somebody else?" And he just goes, "Yeah, we should get somebody else." It was just like, but I was almost the umbrella holder for his wedding, which it would have been terrible. He'd be looking at pictures later and be like, "Who is this guy? Why is he?"
No, it'd be a story for him to tell, though. He'd love it.
Yeah,
He'd love it.
he's awesome. Very, very happy for him.
Yeah.
But let me see.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to guess that I have written, 36 episodes of television.
38.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. Wow.
All right,
Wow.
all right.
That's a ding, ding, ding.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Directing, let's see. I'm going to say I've done 61 episodes of television. Higher.
Yeah.
71?
One more
Really?
bump. Yeah.
81.
Exactly
is.
81.
Exactly 81.
Wow. God, I must have been in a coma for part of my life. I do not remember doing 81 episodes. I mean, I did, well, like half of that is probably Young Sheldon. I mean,
I was about to
for
say,
sure.
how many, like that
I
was
think you
a
did
long...
like 38 or 39 Young Sheldons, if I remember from
yeah,
this
it
morning.
was mid to high 30s.
Makes
81.
sense.
I'm going to hold my head a little higher this afternoon
Yeah.
as I walk
There you
out of here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
You should. Everyone, that's our goal. After finishing an episode of middling, our guests should feel not middling. You know?
Right.
All right. Well,
All
how
right.
did I do on the quiz?
Well, we have one last.
Oh, okay.
Last question. From this episode, Sue had a phone covered in sequins because...
I noticed that phone. That was very Sue.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Then your question is, what color were those sequins?
I think they were blue.
Yes!
They might have been purple, but okay. All right. They were blue.
Okay,
All right.
Alex, you got 5 for 5. What were
Yeah,
you
you're
what were you
great.
afraid of?
Well, I don't know. I guess
great.
just the right things left out at me. But
Yeah.
it's funny. I totally forgot about that moment of her putting the VHS tape in the microwave until you brought that up. But the 2 VHS tape references in the same episode. You know what
Yeah.
I think about that?
And I loved both of
It's a little
them.
weird. Yeah. Yes.
All right, Alex, we love you. We love you so much.
Love you back.
Thank you for doing this.
Yes, thank you. It was fun. And I can't wait to listen back and see what you left in and what you took out.
Awesome.
Well, if we took anything out, if it was just for time, please, you directed a bunch of episodes. So if you would like to, we'd love to have you back.
Yeah.
Anytime.
today, for our listener question, Linda Whitney. Now, Linda, you did say I could edit your. She wrote a long email and it was very precious, but I did. We did have to make some edits. Linda, honey, love you. So she goes, I absolutely love The Middle. It's my favoritist show ever. And yes, I'm making favoritist a word. I have a few questions. I hope it's not too many. You can omit some if it is. Linda, we might have you as a two-parter for another episode because you have some great questions. There's just a lot of them. So she wants to say, first of all, Eden and Brock, you are my favorite characters on the show. That's very sweet. I love you both so much, and I'm so happy you created this podcast. I look forward to listening to you every Wednesday morning.
Oh my God.
That's very sweet. Okay, here are her questions. So, do you all get a recording of the finished episode you are in as they're completed, or you have to wait until it's available on DVD and purchase it like the rest of us? I'm hoping they give it to you since you are the actors in it.
Oh, my dear Linda, you have greatly overestimated the value of how much they value actors. No. We do not get a copy. We barely get notified when it's going to air.
Right.
We absolutely have to just get it like the rest of you.
You know what I would get in my stocking from Santa every year was I would get the DVD box set of the previous season that had just come out over the summer of The Middle. So I have all 9 seasons. They're still in their shrink wrap, but they're in my guest room closet that Santa brought me every Christmas.
I love that.
Okay, so next question from Linda. Also, when handed your script before filming, do you get everyone's script for the episode or just your own and those you interact with? Good
I'm confused.
Question.
I actually don't understand the question.
So she's saying, do you just get your scenes or do you get the entire episode so you know what's going on?
Oh, it is so crazy because I've been doing this for so long, what seems like, obvious. And then it's like, no, this is not obvious. These are real. This is like, yes, we all get the whole script.
Yeah. It's not like sometimes in Marvel, you only get the scenes you're shooting. ABC's The Middle. While some people might mistake it for Marvel, we're not Marvel. So we are allowed to see the entire script. How much time did you get to learn your lines from when they hand you the script to when it's filmed?
That's
also
a great question. Yeah.
So it changed. Right now in season 1, usually I'll say it with an asterisk, table reads were on a Friday. And when a table read happens, you get the script the night before. You get it emailed to you because the writers are working on it up until then. And so then, I don't know, you glance at it, you read it before the table read. How many times did you just cold read those scripts, Eden? I have to know.
Starting season 3, they were all cold reads.
Wow. God bless. And it made it feel like you had rehearsed it the night before. But so you're given that, you're given the script the night before the table read. And then what happens from that table read, then they're doing notes, the writers, based on like what got laughs, what worked, what didn't work, time, all that kind of stuff. And you're emailed a new script that you're actually going to film sometime over the weekend. Yeah.
So you get, sometimes it's Sunday. Sometimes you get basically... a couple usually I would say on average 24 hours, but we usually just memorized in the trailer.
Well, you did. Patty Heaton did not.
That's true.
Great questions, Linda. You also, I think she had 3 more, and maybe we'll do like a 2-parter on another episode, but great stuff.
Just to remind everyone, we have extended and ad-free episodes on Patreon. That is patreon.com/middlingpod. You can just buy individual episodes for $3. Highly recommend you buy the Neil one if you're not already a subscriber. Next week we have, like Brock said, we have Bo Wyrick co-hosting. I'll have FOMO, but he'll be great because he is on it. He's probably gonna have note cards of research.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be great. and that's it.
Sweet girl, I love you. I'm gonna miss you so much.
I love you so much, Brock.
Bye, honey.